The elevator doors hissed open on the 52nd floor, and there he was, Caleb Harrington, the CEO of Apex Dynamics, leaning against the glass wall like he owned the damn sky. His eyes locked onto mine, not with the polite detachment I'd rehearsed for, but with a raw, hungry intensity that pinned me in place, as if he'd been waiting for this exact second. "Adam Riley," he said, his voice a low rumble that echoed off the marble floors. "I've been looking forward to this more than you know." I stumbled out of the elevator, my polished loafers suddenly feeling like lead weights, because in that split-second stare, Caleb hadn't just sized me up for the job. He'd seen straight through to the part of me I'd buried under spreadsheets and forced smiles, the part that whispered doubts in the dead of night about who I really was. The boardroom air thickened as he extended a hand, his grip firm and lingering just a beat too long, sending a jolt up my arm that had nothing to do with nerves and everything to do with the forbidden spark I'd spent years pretending didn't exist. By the time the interview wrapped, with his parting words, "We'll talk soon, Adam." Real soon. I was frozen, confused, my mind replaying that look like a glitchy reel, wondering if it was admiration for my resume or something far more dangerous. New York City had a way of chewing you up and spitting you out, especially if you were a 28-year-old queer kid from the Rust Belt suburbs of Ohio, chasing dreams in a suit that still smelled like my mom's laundry detergent. I'd scraped my way through NYU on scholarships and side gigs, building a portfolio in digital marketing that screamed ambition but hid the loneliness gnawing at my edges. Apex Dynamics was the golden ticket, a tech firm revolutionizing AI for urban planning, headquartered in a gleaming tower that pierced the Manhattan skyline like a middle finger to mediocrity. Landing the interview felt like fate. Walking out of it felt like stepping into a storm. That night, back in my shoebox apartment in Brooklyn, I paced the creaky hardwood floors, replaying every micro-expression on Caleb's face. He was 35, the wunderkind who'd turned a startup into a billion-dollar beast, featured in Forbes as the straight-shooting savior of smart cities. Straight shooting. The irony twisted in my gut. His dark hair was cropped close, his jawline sharp enough to cut glass, and those eyes, stormy blue, like the Hudson on a turbulent day, had unraveled me. Was it paranoia, or had he lingered on my lips when I talked about viral campaigns? I cracked open a beer from the mini-fridge, the fizz mirroring the chaos in my chest, and scrolled through his LinkedIn like a stalker. No husband, no boyfriend, just a string of power lunches and TED Talks. Clean. Too clean. The call came 2 days later, while I was nursing a hangover at a coffee shop in Williamsburg. "Adam, it's Caleb Harrington." His voice on the line was smoother than silk, wrapping around my name like a caress. "You're in. Senior strategist. Start Monday. And dinner tonight, to celebrate." My heart slammed against my ribs. Dinner? With the CEO? It was unprofessional, a red flag waving in hurricane winds, but the yes tumbled out before I could censor it. "Pick you up at 7, he added, and hung up, leaving me staring at my phone like it had grown teeth. He arrived in a black Audi that purred like a panther, pulling up to my stoop with the kind of effortless cool that made my thrift store blazer feel like a costume. Caleb stepped out, all 6'2" of him in a tailored navy suit that hugged his broad shoulders, a faint 5 o'clock shadow dusting his chin. "You clean up nice," he said, his gaze sweeping over me with that same electric intensity from the interview. We drove to a speakeasy in the village, the kind with velvet curtains and jazz humming low, where the cocktails cost more than my rent. Over bourbon neat, he leaned in, elbows on the scarred oak table, and asked not about my 5-year plan, but about the scar on my knuckle from a bar fight in college, defending a friend who'd been outed too soon. I froze, the words sticking like gravel. No one asked about that. Not in polite company. But Caleb's eyes held no judgment, just a quiet hunger for the truth. "I get it," he murmured, tracing the rim of his glass with a thumb. "Hiding parts of yourself. It eats you alive." The air between us crackled, charged with unspoken confessions. By the time the bartender called last call, his knee had brushed mine under the table. Not accidental, not retreating, and I was lost, drowning in the possibility that this man, this untouchable force, saw me. Really saw me. Monday morning hit like a freight train. The Apex offices were a hive of glass walls and ergonomic pods, humming with the low buzz of coders and creatives chasing the next big algorithm. My desk overlooked the East River, a perk that screamed, "You're one of us now." Caleb's corner office loomed at the far end, a fishbowl of prestige where he held court. He nodded as I passed, a ghost of a smile playing on his lips, but kept it professional, HR policies and all that jazz. Still, the glances lingered across conference rooms during strategy sessions, his eyes finding mine amid the PowerPoint drudgery, a silent promise that made my pulse stutter. Weeks blurred into a rhythm of late nights and takeout Thai, our mentorship sessions stretching into the witching hour. He'd critique my pitches with a surgeon's precision, then pivot to stories of his own, growing up in a conservative Chicago suburb, the pressure of being the golden boy, the secret hookups in dorm rooms that ended in shame. "I built this company to prove I didn't need anyone's approval," he confessed one evening, the city lights twinkling like distant stars through his office blinds. "But it doesn't fill the hole, Adam." "Nothing does." I reached across the desk, my fingers brushing his, and the world narrowed to that point of contact, warm, electric, inevitable. Our first kiss happened on a rooftop bar in Midtown, after sealing a deal with a city council that would greenlight Apex's pilot in Queens. Champagne fizzed in our flutes, the skyline a jagged halo around us. "To breakthroughs," Caleb toasted, his voice husky from the triumph. But when our glasses clinked, he didn't pull away. Instead, he closed the distance, his hand cupping the back of my neck, lips crashing into mine with a desperation that tasted like relief. It was fire and rain, all at once, his stubble grazing my skin, his breath mingling with mine, the city fading to a hum below. We broke apart gasping, foreheads pressed together, and in that suspended breath, I whispered, "This is real, right? Us? Real as it gets," he growled, pulling me closer, and for the first time in years, I believed in something bigger than survival. But New York doesn't do fairy tales without thorns. Caleb's world was a minefield of board meetings and investor schmoozes, where whispers of diversity initiatives masked the old boys club grip. He introduced me to his inner circle, sharp-suited execs with Rolexes and rehearsed laughs, but always as the new hotshot strategist, never more. At home, though, in the stolen hours after midnight, he was mine. Tangled sheets in his Tribeca loft, his body mapping mine like uncharted code, murmurs of "I love you" slipping out in the afterglow. Adam and Caleb, two Midwestern transplants rewriting the rules in the city that never sleeps. Yet the cracks spiderwebbed early. A gala at the Met, black tie mandatory, where Caleb's arm looped through Elena Vasquez's, a venture capitalist with raven hair and a laugh like champagne bubbles. "Just business," he assured me later, over hurried kisses in a coat closet. But her hand on his elbow lingered, And the tabloids ate it up. Apex's power pair. Harrington and Vasquez I merger. Merger. The word soured in my mouth. I scrolled Instagram at 3 a.m. Elena's posts a parade of red carpets and yacht sunsets, always with Caleb cropped in. Their chemistry a scripted illusion. I confronted him one rainy October night, the kind where the city smells like wet concrete and regret. We'd fought traffic from a client dinner, the wipers slapping rhythmically as thunder grumbled overhead. "Is there something with her?" I asked, voice tight, staring at the blur of taillights. Caleb's knuckles whitened on the wheel. "Adam, come on. She's an investor." Optics. Optics. The word was a slap, reducing us to pixels on a screen. Optics for what? Hiding me? The car swerved into a no-parking zone outside my building, engine idling like a held breath. He turned. "Eyes stormy. This isn't the 50s. But yeah, it matters. The board, the shareholders, they want the all-American dream. Wife, kids, the whole heteronormative bullshit." His laugh was bitter, hollow. "I thought you got that. Thought you were in this with me." I slammed the door, rain soaking through my shirt in seconds, the word in echoing like a curse. How deep did it go? Was I his dirty secret, or his salvation? The betrayal didn't come with fanfare. It slithered in, quiet and venomous. November brought the holiday crunch. Apex's annual summit, a whirlwind of keynotes and cocktail hours. I was mid-pitch in the main hall, screens alive with my vision for inclusive urban AI, when Caleb took the stage. Spotlights bathed him in gold, his tie loosened just enough to hint at vulnerability. "Apex isn't just building cities," he boomed, voice carrying like thunder. "We're building futures." And today, I'm proud to announce our partnership with Vasquez Ventures. Not just in business, but in life. The room erupted in applause, but I heard nothing over the roar in my ears. Life, as in. The screen behind him flashed. A candid shot of him and Elena, rings glinting on intertwined fingers. Engagement. Announced to the world while I stood 10 feet away. Invisible. My knees buckled. I gripped the podium, vision tunneling to black. Whispers rippled. Colleagues glancing my way, pity in their eyes. Caleb's gaze found mine across the sea of suits, a flicker of apology, then steel resignation to the game he'd always played. I bolted, weaving through the crowd like a ghost, bursting into the November chill. Central Park's paths were slick with fallen leaves, the air biting my lungs as I ran, sobs choking out in ragged bursts. Betrayed. The word looped, a mantra of shattered trust. Hours later, curled on my apartment floor, phone buzzing with unread texts. "We need to talk. Please." I deleted his number, the screen blurring through tears. Love, I'd learned, was a luxury for those who could afford the fallout. But grief has a way of forging steel. Days bled into weeks. I threw myself into work, channeling rage into campaigns that went viral, earning nods from the board that once overlooked me. Caleb kept his distance, professional nods in hallways masking the chasm. Elena's rock was a canary diamond, splashed across page 6. Tech Titan ties the knot, Harrington's holiday surprise. No wedding date yet, but the implication hung heavy. I spotted them once, at a fundraiser in Soho, her head on his shoulder, his eyes scanning the room like a man adrift. Our paths crossed at the bar. He ordered scotch, neat, and murmured, "You look good, Adam." Stronger. "Fuck you." I hissed, low enough for only him to hear. You don't get to play the victim now. He flinched, the mask cracking, and for a heartbeat, I saw the boy from Chicago, terrified of the light. I did it for the company, he whispered. For us to buy time. The lie tasted like ash. I walked away, head high, the city's pulse sinking with my own resilient beat. Christmas Eve found me alone in the office, strings of lights twinkling mockingly from the windows. The summit success had fast-tracked me to lead strategist, a title that tasted bittersweet without someone to share it. Footsteps echoed down the hall. Caleb, coat dusted with snow, eyes red-rimmed from more than the cold. Can't run forever, he said, voice raw, leaning in the doorway like a specter. I didn't look up from my laptop. Who's running? I'm thriving. He crossed the room, perching on the desk's edge, close enough for his cologne to stir ghosts. I called it off. Elena. She knew. About you. About me. It was a sham from the start, a shield. His hand hovered near mine, trembling. I panicked. Adam. The pressure, the expectations, it's suffocating. But losing you, that's death. The confession hung, fragile as hoarfrost. I searched his face, tracing the lines etched deeper by secrets, and felt the old pull, tempered now by scars. Why now? I demanded, voice cracking. After you paraded her like a trophy? Tears welled in his eyes, unashamed. Because I can't build empires on lies anymore. I want the truth with you. If you'll have me. The room spun, a vortex of hurt and hope. I stood, closing the gap, our breaths mingling in the charged silence. Prove it, I whispered, and his lips met mine, not with desperation, but with a quiet vow, soft and searching. We didn't rush back to what was. Therapy sessions for him, boundaries for me, weekly check-ins over coffee in neutral territory. Rebuilding trust brick by painstaking brick. Caleb came out in a company memo. Understated but seismic. Apex thrives on authenticity. So do I. I'm gay. And I'm here to lead with all of me. The backlash was swift. Stock dips. Op-eds decrying woke capitalism. But so was the wave of support. From employees who'd hidden in plain sight to allies who'd waited too long. Elena, she became a friend. Her engagement, a calculated PR move to force his hand, a tough love intervention from someone who'd loved him platonically all along. Spring unfurled in cherry blossoms along the High Line, and with it, us tentative walks hand in hand, no hiding. Caleb's loft became our haven, filled with takeout containers and laughter that drowned out the doubts. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the Jersey skyline, he knelt by the window, a simple silver band in his palm. Not a shield this time, he said, voice steady. A promise. Marry me, Adam, not for the world, but for us. Tears pricked my eyes, the weight of the past dissolving in the light of now. Yes, I breathed, pulling him up into an embrace that felt like home. New York roared on below, indifferent to our quiet revolution, but in that moment, we'd claimed our slice of forever raw, real, and unapologetically ours. The wedding was small, a rooftop affair in June, under a canopy of strung lights and the hum of the city we'd conquered. Vows exchanged with the skyline as witness. I see you, all of you, and I choose this every day. Caleb's hand in mine, steady and sure, as we danced to a jazz quartet, bodies swaying in sync. No fanfare, no tabloids, just love, human and hard-won, blooming in the concrete cracks. Years later, Apex evolved under our dual vision, AI that mapped not just streets, but souls, inclusive designs for cities where everyone belonged. And us? Two men who'd stared down betrayal and emerged whole, proof that, in America's relentless grind, tenderness could be the ultimate rebellion. In the quiet hours, Caleb's head on my chest, I traced the scar on his knuckle. From a childhood fall, he'd joke and whisper, "We're unbreakable now." And in his sleepy smile, I'd find the truth. We always had been. The summer after our wedding melted into a haze of rooftop barbecues and weekend getaways to the Hamptons, where the salt air scrubbed away the last residues of doubt. Caleb's hand in mine felt like an anchor, grounding me against the swells of memory that still lapped at the edges. Flashes of that summit stage, the glint of Elena's ring like a dagger's edge. But forgiveness isn't erasure. It's alchemy, turning leaden hurt into golden resolve. We'd built rituals. Sunday mornings with the New York Times crossword, his competitive streak clashing with my wordplay puns, ending in laughter and lazy kisses that stretched the day wide. At work, the shift was palpable. Caleb's coming out had cracked open the floodgates. Anonymous emails trickling into HR about closeted colleagues, pride flags sprouting in cubicles like defiant wildflowers. I spearheaded the Authentic Apex initiative, workshops on allyship and mental health that drew lines around the water cooler, turning whispers into dialogues. One panel, with Caleb moderating, a junior dev named Marco shared his story. Outed by a hack, blackballed until Apex hired him sight unseen. "This place saved me," he said, voice thick, and Caleb's eyes met mine across the room. A shared nod, electric with pride. But peace has its undercurrents. Elena resurfaced at a fall conference in San Francisco, her venture firm now a key Apex partner. Over dim sum in Chinatown, she pulled me aside, her sharp bob swinging like a pendulum. "He almost blew it all for the facade," she confessed, sake warming her cheeks. "I played along to make him face it. Hurt you in the process. I'm sorry." Her apology was olive branch and mirror, forcing me to confront my own complicity. The thrill of secrecy, the way I'd romanticized his torment. "We both did," I admitted, clinking glasses. To messy truths, back in New York, the holidays loomed like a gauntlet. Caleb's family, staunch Catholics from the Windy City, had boycotted the wedding, their silence a frostier chill than any blizzard. Invites went unanswered, save a curt card from his sister, "Praying for you both." He shrugged it off in public, but I'd wake to him staring at the ceiling, jaw clenched. "They'll come around," I'd murmur, curling against him, but the lie tasted thin. Christmas Eve, we hosted a potluck for the team, tamales from Marco, lax from Elena via courier, and in the glow of fairy lights, Caleb raised a toast to chosen families, the ones that see you. Yet the new year brought shadows. A whistleblower leak, internal emails exposing early Apex projects that prioritized profit over privacy, algorithms that inadvertently profiled low-income neighborhoods for gentrification. The headlines screamed, "Tech Tyrant, Harrington's Hidden Agenda," dredging up his engagement charade as evidence of deeper deceit. Protests clogged the lobby, rainbow flags twisted into accusations of performative allyship. Caleb barricaded in his office, fielding calls from lawyers, his charisma fracturing under the strain. I found him there one blizzardy afternoon, snow lashed against the windows like accusations. "It's all unraveling," he muttered, head in hands. "What if they're right?" What if I am the villain? The vulnerability gutted me. This man who'd bared his soul now doubting his core. I knelt before him, framing his face. You're human, Caleb. Flawed. Like me. Like all of us. But you fought for better, for us. For them. He pulled me onto his lap, burying his face in my neck. Sobs muffled against my skin. That night, we drafted the response together, a public mea culpa, commitments to ethical audits, reparations for affected communities, transparency as redemption. Spring thawed the scandal, but not without cost. Caleb stepped down as CEO, transitioning to Chief Innovation Officer, a demotion in title, elevation in purpose. I took the helm as co-lead, our partnership now official, board approved. The move made waves. Queer power couple reshapes Apex, the advocate blared. Skeptics sneered. But metrics didn't lie, employee retention soared. Diverse hires doubled. In boardrooms, Caleb's insights cut sharper, unburdened by pretense. Our first anniversary fell on a humid July weekend, the city pulsing with fireflies and street fairs. We escaped to Fire Island, a pink sand paradise where board shorts and bare feet were the dress code. The Pines house we'd rented overlooked dunes whispering secrets to the sea. Evenings blurred into bonfires with locals, drag queens roasting marshmallows, stories swapped like shells. One night, under a canopy of stars, Caleb traced patterns on my chest. "Remember that interview?" he murmured, breath warm. "I saw you, Adam, fierce, unbroken. Knew then I'd burn it all down for this." I laughed, salty with ocean mist. "You almost did." Twice. His kiss silenced the jest. Deep and anchoring, bodies entwining on the weathered deck as waves crashed approval. Love, we'd learned, wasn't a straight line. It zigzagged through betrayals and breakthroughs, emerging scarred but luminous. Fall brought expansion. Apex's urban AI piloted in Detroit, my hometown roots twisting fate. We flew in, touring blighted blocks reborn with smart grids and community hubs. At a town hall, an elder from my old neighborhood gripped my hand. "Boy from the trailers, now changin' the world. Proud of you." Tears stung. Caleb squeezed my shoulder, his presence a quiet chorus. But echoes lingered. A letter arrived, postmarked Chicago, Caleb's mother, script shaky. "Saw your face on the news. Prayed on it. Come home, son. Both of you." Reconciliation brewed slow, over awkward brunches in the Loop, her eyes softening from judgment to curiosity. "He looks at you like you're his son," she whispered once, patting my knee. Healing, incremental as dawn. By winter's grip, we'd adopted a rescue mutt, a scruffy terrier named Scout, symbol of our ragtag family. Mornings started with leashes and lattes, Caleb's laughter echoing as Scout tugged us through Prospect Park. Life settled into grooves. Strategy sessions laced with inside jokes. Date nights at hole-in-the-wall jazz dives. The kind where saxophones wept for lost loves and found them again. Yet humanity's arc bends toward light only through effort. A young intern, out and reeling from family rejection, cornered me in the break room. "How do you forgive?" he asked, eyes hollow. I thought of Caleb's gaze that first day, piercing, promising. "You don't. First. You build beside the hurt. Let time do the rest." He nodded, fragile hope flickering. Our second anniversary dawned crisp. Central Park dusted in frost. Caleb surprised me with a hot air balloon ride over the Hudson Valley. Ridiculous, romantic, the basket swaying as earth shrank below. From up here, he yelled over the burner's roar, wind whipping his hair. It all looks small. The bullshit, the betrayals. Just us, rising. I pulled him close, the world a patchwork quilt beneath, and kissed him fierce against the sky. Down to earth, we landed changed, lighter, tethered. New York churned on, a beast of reinvention, mirroring our own. In quiet moments, Caleb's head on my pillow, I'd marvel at the journey. From frozen confusion in an elevator to this, a love etched in resilience. We'd weathered storms, emerged not unscathed, but unbreakable proof that in America's vast, varied tapestry, two hearts could weave their own enduring thread. Word count, approximately 1,000 words. End of file 2. The third year of marriage unfolded like a jazz riff. Improvised. Soulful. With undertones of blue that kept it honest. Apex's Detroit project bloomed into a national blueprint, earning us a White House nod. Innovators of inclusion. The citation read, handed over in a rose garden ceremony where Caleb's hand sweated in mine, his whisper tickling my ear. Don't trip, Riley. I elbowed him, grinning through nerves, as cameras flashed like summer lightning. Backstage, Elena clapped us on the back. My boys, making history, her partnership now familial, the three of us a triad of tough love. But accolades amplify shadows. Online trolls mined our past, unearthing that summit photo, Caleb on stage, Elena's ring winking, my face blurred in the crowd. Threads exploded. Fake woke. He used his fiancée as cover for side action. The vitriol slithered into inboxes, death threats pinging like shrapnel. Caleb armored up, deleting apps, but I saw the toll. Pacing at midnight, scotch in hand, muttering about never enough. They're ghosts, I'd say, drawing him to bed, bodies a bulwark against the noise. We outlast them. Spring unearthed personal fault lines. My mom, widowed and adrift in Ohio, visited her first trip east since my coming out. She fussed over the loft's minimalist chic, cooing at Scout, but tensed when Caleb slung an arm around my waist. Dinner at a cozy Italian in the village. Pasta twirled, wine flowed, until she blurted, "You too." The sweet, "But have you thought about kids? Legacy?" The fork paused midair. Caleb's smile tightened. I squeezed his thigh under the table. Mom, we're building ours, through work, through each other. She nodded, eyes misty, but the seed lodged. What legacy? If not blood? The question haunted fertility forums late at night. Adoption agencies bookmarked in incognito. Caleb caught me scrolling one dawn, coffee steaming on the nightstand. Surrogate? He ventured, voice tentative. Or foster, hell, even a gaggle of godkids from the team. We laughed, but it stuck, dreams deferred, now ripe for harvest. Consultations followed, lawyers parsing contracts, clinics charting paths. Elena, ever the fixer, connected us to a queer surrogacy network. Her own journey with IVF a roadmap of hope and heartache. Summer sweltered with possibility. A match. Surrogacy candidate Lila, a graphic designer from Queens with a wry smile and a bookshelf groaning under Audre Lorde. Over iced lattes in her sun-drenched studio, she shared her why. Want to gift joy, not just create it. Tears pricked as we signed intents. The clinic's ultrasound wand later revealing a heartbeat, tiny, insistent. Ours. Caleb wept in the parking lot, splaying a hand over my still flat belly. No, over the promise. Dad, he tested, goofy grin splitting his face. Holy shit, Adam. Dad's pregnancy's rhythm reshaped us. Caleb turned domestic. Nesting binges at IKEA, midnight runs for pickles and Prosecco. I swelled with wonder and whimsy, apex duties lightened by paternity leave. Mornings, he'd murmur to my bump, "Hey, kiddo. Your old man's a softie, don't tell." Marco, now a project lead, threw a baby shower in the office. Rainbow balloons, onesies emblazoned with future CEO or activist. Laughter echoed, a chorus against isolation. But joy courts peril. Fall's equinox brought complications. Bed rest ordered after spotting. The doctor's voice clinical, preterm risk, confinement chafed. I paced the loft like a caged tiger, hormones a tempest. Caleb juggled board crises and bedside vigils, his exhaustion etched in shadows under his eyes. One night, thunder rattling windows, doubt crested. What if I'm not enough? For you? For this? He gathered me close, heartbeat steady against mine. You're everything, Adam. The rock I build on. His kiss was sacrament, dissolving fears in the storm's hush. The scare bonded us deeper, therapy evolving to family prep. Navigating race, Lila's black heritage. Our white privilege, queerness in a binary world. Books piled high, Raising Good Humans. The Queer Parent's Survival Guide, dog-eared with marginalia. Caleb's mom visited. Tentative bridges mending over knit booties. Her prayers now laced with blessings for the little one. Winter birthed miracle. Labor hit at dawn on the solstice. Snow blanketing the city in hush. Hospital corridors blurred. Contractions crashing like waves. Caleb's hand vice-tight. His litany. You've got this, love. We're right here. Lila labored beside. A warrior in the suite we'd booked tandem. Hours distilled to pushes and praises, until cries pierced the air. Our son, Elias James Harrington Riley. 7 pounds of fury and fragility, slick and squalling. Cradling him, skin to skin, the world telescoped. His fist curling around my finger, Caleb's tear-streaked awe mirroring mine. Perfect, he breathed, kissing my forehead, then Elias's downy head. Lila, exhausted and radiant, signed relinquishment with a smile. He's yours. Love him fierce. We did from bottle feeds at 2 a.m. to park strolls in slushy spring. Elias's gurgles a soundtrack to our renaissance. Parenthood appended apex. Flexible hours codified. Childcare subsidies expanded. Elias became mascot, goo-gooed at over-strategy calls, his first steps taken on the office carpet amid cheers. Caleb, once the lone wolf, softened into storyteller, bedtime tales of 2 daddies who built a city from dreams. Yet growth demands sacrifice. A rival firm poached key talent, whispers of corporate espionage tainting our rep. Investigations dragged, stress coiling tight. One evening, Elias down, Caleb snapped over a spilled report. Can't you see? It's falling apart. The barb-landed echo of old fractures. We paused, breathing space, then talked. Therapy reignited, boundaries redrawn. We're a team, I reminded, and in his nod, renewal. Elias's first birthday dawned golden. A backyard bash in the Hamptons. Beach tots toddling. Elena DJing queer anthems. As cake smeared his chubby cheeks, Caleb pulled me aside, waves lapping testimony. From that gaze in the elevator to this. You remade me, Adam. I traced his jaw, salt-kissed. We remade each other. Twilight deepened, fireflies dancing like blessings. In America's heartland sprawl, from Rust Belt origins to skyline thrones, we'd carved a humanism fierce and tender. Love not as conquest, but communion. Betrayals forged, not felled us. In Elias's laugh, the future unfolded, infinite as the sea. Word count, approximately 1,000 words. End of file 3. Elias's toddler years whipped by like Manhattan traffic. Blurs of sippy cups and scraped knees, his curly mop a whirlwind of curiosity. By 3, he parroted boardroom lingo, synergy, dada, earning chuckles at daycare pickups. Caleb and I tag-teamed the chaos. Me wrangling tantrums with puppets, him engineering forts from couch cushions. Date nights evolved to stolen gelato runs, hands linked across cafe tables, conversations dipping from diaper disasters to dreams deferred. Apex crested new peaks, a UN contract for sustainable cities, our algorithms now global, greening favelas in Rio. The acclaim pulled us to Davos, schmoozing tycoons in chalets, Elias FaceTiming from Ohio with my mom, his Miss Nan beaming through pixels. But jet lag bred friction. Post-panel, Caleb vented over fondue. These suits, they gnawed at diversity, but hoard power. His cynicism, once armor, now chafed. Then we disrupt harder, I countered, clinking steins. Homebound, we channeled it, a non-profit arm, Apex Equity, funneling tech to underserved queer youth. Family tendrils strengthened. Caleb's folks, thawed by Elias's dimpled grin, hosted Thanksgivings in Chicago, turkey tents with turkey talks, but grace notes in pie slices shared. My mom relocated east, a Brooklyn brownstone haven, her babysitting a lifeline laced with lore. Your dad's met like a movie, kiddo. Elias absorbed it, crayon drawings of CEO daddies pinned to fridges. For brought preschool politics, Elias's rainbow backpack drawing stares. A bully's taunt, boys don't marry boys. Heartsink we coached with books like And Tango Makes Three. His resilience blooming in art class murals of love families. The incident spurred Apex's school outreach, workshops on inclusion that rippled local. Pride that year, we marched with him hoisted on shoulders. His sign, My Dad's Rock, a tiny thunderclap amid the floats. But mid-decade, crisis crested. Caleb's annual checkup unearthed a shadow on his lung. Smoker's relic from stressed college days, now a specter. Biopsy waited, days stretching elastic with dread. He masked it masterfully, joking over breakfast. If it's bad, Elias inherits my bad puns. But nights, he'd cling. Whispers fierce. Don't let go if. I shut him down. Fierce. We fight together. Always. The weight was wilderness. Elias's oblivious hugs anchors. Elena's check-ins lifelines. Clear, benign. A false alarm from inflammation. Relief crash title. Sex that night raw and reclaiming. Bodies affirming life. But the scare scarred. Prompting quits. Caleb's last cigarette stubbed in the Hudson. My hovering eased into trust. Philanthropy deepened. We endowed a health fund for queer elders. Invisibilities told too familiar. Elias at 5. Kindergarten king. Soccer star with a lisp that charmed. Vacations veered adventurous, Yellowstone geysers. Him gaping. Daddies, it's magic. Caleb, ever the planner. Map trails. I captured candids. Our album a testament. One Dusk. By Old Faithful. He proposed a sequel. Another little Riley Harrington? Elias's plea. Brother for forts. Sealed it. Surrogacy round 2. This time, a gay dad duo from Cali. Their gift a daughter, Nova Lila, born under California sun. Her arrival doubled the decibels, Elias's big bro swagger clashing with midnight wails. Sleep fractured, but so did isolation. Playdates with Marco's twins forged a village. Nova's eyes, stormy blue like her father's, hooked us instant, her coos a counterpoint to Elias's chatter. Caleb, paternal softy, baby wore her to meetings, bored vets cooing over Zooms. Career pivots beckoned. I stepped to executive director of Apex Equity. Fieldwork pulling me to Chicago's South Side, mentoring coders from projects akin to my youth. Caleb helmed innovation, his patents powering equitable grids. Balance tipped, date nights rarer, Elias's recitals missed in transit. Resentment simmered. One argument erupted post-Nova's baptism. Secular. Splashy, you're always gone, he accused. Building the world. Forgetting ours. Counter. I'm holding the fort while you chase headlines. Ceasefire in counseling. Recommitting. Calendars synced. Weekly us hours sacred. 8 for Elias. 3 for Nova. School plays and science fairs. Their sibling squabbles symphonies. Pride evolved, family floats. Elias drumming for the contingent. Nova waving pom-poms. A heckler spat slurs. Caleb shielded. Voice steel. Teach your hate elsewhere. Debrief over ice cream. Words can't touch us. I framed. And in their nods. Armor forged. Legacy loomed larger. Caleb's memoir pitch, ghostwriter querying. The gay CEO's unfiltered rise. He balked. Too raw. I nudged. Your story heals. Penned in snippets. Elevator gaze to boardroom betrayals. The manuscript mirrored our mess. Love demanded I dismantle the throne. Published to acclaim. Royalties seeded scholarships. Readings drew fans. Elias beaming. My dad's a writer too. A decade in. Betrayal's ghost revisited, not ours, but echoed. A protege, outed by a leak, faced Apex's own HR gauntlet pre-hour reforms. We advocated, policy tightened, but the kid's plea, how'd you survive it, stirred sediments. Over anniversary champagne, 10th, Eiffel Tower twinkling via Paris jaunt. Kids with Elena. Caleb toasted. To surviving and thriving beyond. His hand in mine. Nova's curls tickling my chin in a carrier slingback memory. Elias's tween spark ignited debates. Climate camps versus coding boot camps. Nova's precocity, poems at 4 hinted artist. We parented permissive yet present. Mistakes minefields. My overscheduling. Caleb's workaholic relapses. But apologies aired. Growth gleaned. 15th wedding vow renewal. Rooftop redux. City aglow. Elias, lanky teen, officiated with mock gravitas. You guys are gross. But goals. Nova scattered petals. Giggling. Vows updated. Through scares and scuffles. I choose you, us still. Dance under stars. Kids crashing the floor. A tableau of tangled limbs and love. America's pulse quickened. Rights rolled back in red states. Our advocacy amplified. Apex lobbied. Testified. Home. We sheltered. Family game nights fortresses. In quiet, Caleb's gaze, still piercing, held universes. From confusion to clarity, you, echo, and forever forward, humanity, we'd etched, thrives in vulnerability's vein, betrayal's bridges to broader grace, romance a revolution. Our family, fractal and fierce, proof in pudgy hands and proud postures. Love endures, redefines, redeems. Word count, approximately 1,000 words. End of file 4. The 20s dawned with Elias's driver's permit. Heart attacks on wheels. Caleb white-knuckling passenger seat as our boy navigated Brooklyn's snarl. Ease up, Dad. Elias griped, but his grin betrayed thrill. Nova, preteen firecracker, dominated debate club, her arguments a whirlwind of wit inherited from boardroom battles. Family dinners devolved to democracy. Pizza versus pad thai. Votes tallied with mock gavels. Amid the melee, stolen glances across the chaos. Caleb's foot nudging mine under the oak table. A Morse code of still us. Apex marked silver. 25 years. Gala at the Guggenheim, spirals of light mirroring our ascent. Keynote duo. Me on equity's arc. Caleb on innovation's heart. Backstage. Nerves jangling. Equipped. Nervous? Remember our first pitch. Laughter loosened knots. On stage. Synergy sang. Post-toast. Elena cornered us. You too. Still the hottest power couple. Don't fuck it up. Sage. Saucy. But era's end. Retirement whispers grew. Elias eyeing Stanford. Nova NYU dreams. Caleb. 50-ish silver fox. Mused sabbaticals. Time for us. Not empires. I balked. Identity woven in work's warp, but a trial month in Tuscany shifted soil. Vineyards verdant. Pasta al fresco. Kids video calling antics. Mornings. Espresso and entwinement. This, he murmured, tracing my laugh lines, is the real legacy. Homeward. We phased. Advisory roles. Equity board seats. Space for siestas and sonnets. Elias's gap year volunteering in queer youth centers abroad mirrored my Rust Belt grit. Letters home. Dad's, your story, it guides. Nova's internship at Apex Equity. Her fresh eyes sharpening ours. More intersectional. Less incremental. Pride swelled. Tempered by launch pangs. Empty nests looming. Crisis revisited kin. Caleb's sister. Closeted widow. Confessed over holiday hooch. Hid too long. Cancer now, regrets pile. We rallied, treatments funded. Talks tender. Her coming out. Bedside rainbow flag fluttering. Freed final breaths. Eulogy. Caleb's. She chose light at last. Grief glued us tighter. Mortality's nudge. Grandparenting ambushed early. Elias's partner. Jamie. Announced. Pregnant. Surrogate route. Shock to joy. Ultrasounds shared. Nursery assembled. Nova's wedding. A boho bash in the park. Her bride's vows echoing ours. From hidden to hallowed. Caleb, misty-eyed, walked her aisle. I danced with Elias. Full circle. Kid. Travel tantalized. Safaris where lions lounged lazy. Tokyo's neon our nocturnal playground. One Kyoto dawn. Temple bells tolling. Caleb knelt. Not proposal, but pledge. Adventure with me. Always. Ring swapped. Platinum etched with gaze eternal. Tears traced temples. Forever your frozen fool. Philanthropy flowered. Foundation formal. Grants greening global hoods. Testimonies trickled. Your AI housed my family post-flood. Human scale humbled. Impact intimate. Not imperial. Sexagenarian shadows. Aches in joints. Checkups routine. But vitality vexed vanity. Caleb's dye job ditched for salt and pepper swagger. My paunch a badge of bliss. Intimacy evolved. Slower. Savoring. Senses sharpened. Still sparks, he'd growl, igniting embers. Elias's twins arrived, boisterous boys. Grandpa's mini-MES. Nova's adoption. A girl from foster fray, her hugs healing old hollows. Holidays hubbub, tables groaning, tales tumbling. Caleb's memoir sequel, Beyond the Boardroom, Family's Frontier. Bestseller bomb. Bridging generations. America's churn, elections electric. Rights resilient, spurred silver activism. Op-eds, podcasts. Our tagline, Love's Long Game. Protests paced with canes. Placards proud. 40s for them. 70s for us. Anniversaries annual. Rooftop rituals renewed. 35th. Kids orchestrated. Cake confetti cannon chaos. Vows voiced. Through tempests tamed. We thrive. Waltz under wheeling stars. Progeny perimeter. Constellation complete. Legacy crystallized, not laurels, but lives lifted. Queer kids coding dreams. Cities compassionate. In twilight talks, Caleb's hand in mine. That look, destiny's dare. Echo, and we dared divine. Humanism's hymn. From betrayal's bite to belonging's bloom. Romance a radical right. Our tale, textured tapestry, kisses in crises. Confessions in calm, whispers eternal. Love liberates, layer by luminous layer. In America's ardent anthem, we harmonized home. Hearts unbroken, horizons boundless.